So we don't want to have too many toys. We don't want to have a disorganized room. We want to have a nice organized space. They can help you maybe sort some socks.
How can parents create a Montessori friendly environment at home, and what would be the key essentials?
Yes, we know that as parents, they're not going to be able to create a prepared environment like the one that a child would experience in a school with a prepared adult that has been trained in the Montessori method. But we know that there's some key basic principles about the Montessori philosophy that can be applied at home, right? So we're going to use what we have, right? We can have a room and it can be a space that we can even call it the Montessori room, right? And we're going to have some Montessori inspired activities, some Montessori inspired material. So one of my first recommendations for parents would be to declutter and simplify. So regardless of your space limitation, we have to remember that the child is on what we call the sensitive period for order. Okay, and science calls that windows of opportunity. So what the child is doing is they're trying to construct their brain, their personality, their reason, and they have to organize, they have to classify every sensorial impression that they have taken since birth. So if we help the child by having a decluttered environment where everything is organized, everything is displayed nicely on shelves, we are supporting the child's development of reason and intelligence. So what we want is we want to have a room that is not cluttered with a few activities on the shelf that are going to support their natural development, right? So we don't want to have too many toys. We don't want to have a disorganized room. We want to have a nice organized. Another thing is the child-sized furniture. So we're going to have low shelves that are the child size so that they can access the materials without hindrance. We are also going to have tables that are low so that the child can, maybe a small chair, can sit and bring their activities to that table. So having child-sized furniture is important. Also, we're going to rotate those materials, especially if you have limited space and you just have maybe one shelf or maybe a couple of shelves that you can use in that room for Montessori activities, then you're going to rotate the material. So you might have 3 activities for that week. And when the child loses interest, you're going to rotate and have something different for the child the following week. Or maybe the child continues to be engaged in those activities and you have them out for a couple of weeks instead of just one. So that depends on you and your observation of your child. Another thing that's important that you can do as a parent is promote nature-based learning. So incorporate nature in your everyday life with your child. You can go out and you can collect leaves, you can collect rocks, you can collect shells, you can go on nature walks. So all these things you can do, you can count with them, all these things that you find in nature with it, right? And try to have things that are what we call in Montessori practical life activities. Practical life activities don't require a lot of space. These are things that we can do in our everyday life. So you can show the child how to help with laundry, for example. They can help you fold some things. They can help you maybe sort some socks. Maybe they can help you set the table. You know, they can bring the fork, the knife. You can pass them some placemats. They can help you with that. Or maybe they can even water a plant, right? Because these are valuable life skills that we're giving the child. And one of the cries of the child, especially in the first playing, is help me do it myself. They want to be independent. So the more you offer them, the more opportunities you offer them to be independent, the more you are responding to that cry that the child has. Another thing you can do is create a small area where you can have like a library area, and you can go to your local library and get books and swap those books as the child is not interested in them anymore. And you want to engage the child in the social life around them. So take them with you to the grocery store, take them with you to the park, go to museums, talk about everything that's happening because the child is also in this window of opportunity or sensitive period for language. So the more you speak to them, the more you talk to them about everything around them and you name every single thing they see, the richer their vocabulary is going to be. So, and involve them in your community because they're social beings and we want them to be in contact with members and friends and people everywhere around them, because that's how they construct their personality. They adapt to the world through the connections they make with the people around them. And that would be my recommendation for parents.
Well, I think that's great advice. What about parents that have limited resources, limited space? What are some things that they can do to integrate Montessori principles, maybe without a dedicated room? Maybe they don't have that room.
Yeah. So for parents that are busier and don't have a lot of time or don't have the space, they can have maybe just a little corner in their house, just a little
You
corner.
mentioned that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with just a small area where you can have some activities. And if they don't have time, I always say um, quality versus quantity. Try to, when you are with your child, be fully present, engage with them, and whatever if it's 20 minutes, if it's an hour, just use that time and really enjoy being with them, paying attention to what they say. Remember, the child is in a sensitive period for movement. So if you're going to be with them, offer opportunities to move. You can go outside and do some games where they can move their body. They can hop, they can jump, they can go on a swing. They can, when you are with them, the child needs to move. They're developing movement, especially they're in that first plane of development, right? If you are, the child is also developing their language. So as I said, read books with them, sing songs, recite poems, talk about everything you're seeing, touching, everything that's happening around you. They're going to be interested. They love true stories. Tell them stories when you were young. Tell them stories when you were little. Oh, when I was little, I used to love skipping on, I don't know, jumping on puddles just like you. Like tell them stories about how you were when you were a child, and they love that too. So engage them, be with them, and if you have limited time, that's okay. But when you are with them, just give them quality time.
So the Montessori approach emphasizes independence and self-directed learning. How can parents encourage these qualities in their children?
Yes. So, as I said, if you're going to prepare your environment or your house, or maybe if you want to prepare your house to support the child in developing their independence, you want to make everything accessible to them. So, for example, in their room, they should have access to their clothing. They should be able to open drawers and get their clothes out, or maybe you have small hooks where they can hang things and they can access them. They know where their shoes go. They know where their socks go. I even recommend parents not to put many choices of clothing. Maybe in a drawer, put maybe 3 or 4 choices, but they can choose what they're going to wear that next day. And so the more independence they have, the more self-directed they're going to be. You can also have, so not offering constant assistance, for example. We adults tend to see a child that is struggling doing something like putting on their shoes or putting on their socks or with a zipper, right? We want to zip it right away. We don't want the child to struggle. Well, offering unnecessary help is not going to support the child's independence. We should just meet the child where they are. If we're noticing they're struggling, let them be. Let them struggle a bit. See if we really need to step in or not. Sometimes just observing is just enough because they will figure it out. And they need the struggle. They need the work. That's how they construct different functions of their bodies. So it's okay for them to struggle. So don't jump right away. Let them struggle a bit and only offer the necessary help, not unnecessary help. Another thing that I think it's important is that to give choice. So when you're with children, offer choices. You can say, would you like to wear your white shoes or your brown shoes? Would you like to wear the red jacket or the green jacket? Like choices that you
You're
can live with.
involving them in the conversation.
Exactly, exactly. So you're going to involve them. You're not going to tell them this is what we're doing, but would you like to go to the end of the street, or would you like to maybe just go to the park that is just a couple of steps away? Like just involve them, give them choices that you can live with, because uh, I've heard parents like, but I don't want them running in the street. Well, give them a choice that it's appropriate for you. Like maybe instead of if they need to hold your hand while you're walking, you can say, "Oh, my right hand or my left hand, or would you like to hold my hand that has the shine bracelet or the ones without a bracelet?" But they have to hold your hand, but find a creative way for them to choose to hold your hand instead of telling them to do something. Because the child, in order to feel independent, needs to have choices, right? And for time exploration. Let the child, if they're like, I remember when my two children, now they're, one is an adolescent and the other one is an adult. We used to go on nature walks, and I used to observe these parents that were just rushing, just walking and just telling the child to just keep moving forward. And of course, I'm a Montessori guide, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this child is exploring everything, seeing everything, learning from everything around them. Let them stop and look at that leaf for 30 minutes if they want to look at that leaf. Let them stop and look at the ant or the daddy long legs if they want to, because they are exploring. It's part of the human tendencies that we have, exploration, adaptation. So let them do that, right?
I
So
love,
these are some things that the parents can do.
I was going to say, I love what you said, just meet the children where they're at.
Yes.
That really kind of sums up a lot of what you're telling me in this approach. I really like that.
Child usually looks up to that older child because older siblings love to share what they know. Start thinking, okay, why is this child not putting away their toys?